So we were going to do some Mr. Miracle stuff, and I had a whole spiel planned for that, and I had a reference, and I had like a whole thing about creativity and your work and arrows in your quiver and like all this kind of stuff, but that we're putting that on hold. Apparently, the Realm number 2, which came out yesterday, right? What day is it today? Thursday? Yeah. Came out yesterday, Wednesday, has sold out, and demand has exceeded what we printed. So it's being sent back to print, and we being the creative team, and everyone involved, we were like, oh shit, we got to send this back to print. And we were like, well, we don't have time to do a brand new cover. And they were like, Nick, do you have time to do a color remix? And I was like, yeah, no problem. When do you need it? And they were like, well, tomorrow AM. And I was like, well, I guess Mr. Miracle is being put on hold. So let's get into the challenges that we're going to have with this. The first thing that I want to talk about is I don't want to entirely recolor everything, because that is going to be extremely time consuming. This image, it took, I think when I did it, it took 6 or 7 hours, maybe 8 hours to do. And I don't want to do 8 hours worth of work. Hey, Kate. And hey, why do I rock? And everybody else that's watching on YouTube right now. So yeah, so I ended up in this place where I did this over the course of 8 hours. It was kind of a struggle. One of the things that I struggle with as a colorist is buildings, because buildings are very gray and they'll soak up a lot of color, but then they'll look weird, they'll look green or pink or whatever, and they're also, I find buildings kind of uninteresting. So it took me a long time to kind of wrap my mind around this cover, because not only is it buildings, but and we're working on an old file. I have to go back and kind of figure out, okay, what's going on with this thing. So this image is real busy. Jeremy drew a lot of debris. There's little guys back there. So, and like I said, I don't want to have to recolor the whole thing. I want to see if we can cheat, I will be recoloring some spots, but let's recolor the important things, and then kind of I don't know, try to do washes and some adjustments to try to make it look different than it is. So, okay, the goal of the project is it's got to look different. So we put what went to print on the right over here, and we've got the Realm number 2, our work file over here. So I did a color remix off stream for the first issue, and the first thing I did was just wash the whole thing with a color, try to get it so that it is just every single color on it's going to be visually different, bottom line. Whether it's a little bit visually different or a lot visually different, we're gonna figure that out. And I will also say that this cover is probably, this is the JPEG, so it's a little lower resolution, but out of my entire 14, 15 year career, this is probably my favorite thing I've ever done. On a technical level, it was me trying out a lot of new things. It was a lot of rendering, which I'm starting to get more and more comfortable with. It was a lot of decisions that I had never really made before. So now we're trying to think about it differently. Like it was, I feel like it was extremely successful, and now we have to be extremely successful again. So with that in mind, let's just barrel into this thing like full tilt, I guess. And this actually looks like it's a slightly different file because her pants got a little bit darker. The blade isn't as pink, but we're going to be changing everything anyway. So let's get to changing. I also, like, it's going to be very difficult to do things like, oh, just like grab her helmet, you know. I keep saying her, but like with Rook, it's like, I don't even know if she's like human. I don't know. There was a weird moment in issue 4, but I don't want to spoil anything. So this is the line art that's down. We can keep that for now. Let's just take, and I had the foresight of at least blocking out the figures and blocking out the building separately. So let's not have not have that showing. I guess we just got to attack this thing. Let's wash it with like an orange. So that looks terrible. But we're gonna get there. We're gonna persevere. Let's play with the color balance a little bit. What I want to do is kind of shift the tone into like a more like rusty kind of place. The realm kind of exists. I think the advantage that we're going to have is that I'm now like more familiar with like what we're doing with the realm than I was before. And so I hope that we can kind of use that to our advantage. That like maybe this will be a little bit easier. But easy or hard, we're working on this till it's done. So the way okay, part of the reason why this is a extremely complicated image to like tackle is that like the characters have to pop from the background, and visually there is so much going on like in the black and whites that they're falling into each other. So, you know, we have to be smart enough to kind of like handle this thing. We have to be smart enough to break up the planes. And the way that I did that originally was that I kind of put this big light behind them, and it like haloed out their features, and you like pushed some of the stuff back. But I don't want to do that for the remix. Like, we have to figure out an alternative, and I think the alternative is just like straight up knocking the building out, like taking all the line art and colorizing it in some capacity. I think I also kind of want to like change up the light source on the building just a little bit. Like, maybe instead of like lighting it top down like this, maybe we can light it bottom up. Bottom up, dog. I don't know what that means. So let's start with the easy stuff. Let's get into the sky and make the sky interesting. So we've selected the sky, and we are going to be like I said, bottom up. So and we want to do kind of like a rusty weird thing. So I know this is blue, but let's kind of start here and then add we want to do like a rusty thing, but what's going to work really well is using two sides of the color wheel. A lot of where the realm lives as far as color theory is on opposite sides of the color wheel. It's a world that's like, and this is purposeful. The world is like ripping itself apart with magic. And so I wanted like the color theory behind it to be very like dichotom, like, you know, opposite of each other. Like, you know, I want it to like visually look like it's fighting itself, you know? So we're gonna do some reds into the blue to make it kind of rusty, and we're just like keeping it loose. We can kind of like, and we want to go light on the blue, maybe even like edge it into green. But we don't want to go too green because we're trying to avoid this on the right here. Whoa, that was aggressive. So, but we also might want to like put it at night rather than like having a you know, like warm kind of day. So by just like kind of putting in these two shades, these two opposite shades, we're creating like these like rich color combinations that are going on in here. They might be a little subtle right now, but you know, we're creating stuff that's like visually interesting. You know, stuff that's going to, you know, it's not a flat, even color. It's, I mean, like, I don't have a whole lot of painting experience, but I know that artists do a thing like that's called underpainting, and this is always kind of what I assumed it was, but I don't necessarily know. It seems like this is the thing that they do. So let's kind of roll with it. So we've created like a very like splotchy kind of thing, but we're gonna pull a direction out of it because yeah. This is starting to look good already. It's starting to look real different. And we're gonna put the same. Let's multiply down a blue. And then put in some like weird stars and stuff. Oh, I should talk about, I updated Photoshop and my brushes and stuff look different. For anyone that's been like paying attention, and we're going to do this actually on a separate layer because I might want to mess with the stars a little bit. For anyone that's paying attention, Photoshop got an update. And I posted about it on Twitter a lot. In the update, there's a couple things going on. So this looks different. And the reason that it looks different is they added brush organization. So, like, it used to be that it would load all of my brushes at once. And I don't know if you've noticed, but every time I right-clicked to bring up the brush menu when you were on a brush, it would change up what was going on. Like it would like slow down, pinwheel would come up, and it would load every single brush that I had. So now instead I have my brushes, like these are the ones that I use pretty much constantly. And then like, you know, these are like ones that I use seldom. They're very brushy brushes. That doesn't make any sense, but it makes sense to me. These are like my texture brushes, like, you know, that it's like a splotchy kind of stuff. And these are, a lot of these brushes are, I put them under legacy brushes because they are brushes that I was using to kind of mimic, what I was trying to get natural effects out of in Photoshop. Dog's in the back. He's back there stealing the show, getting a drink. He doesn't care what we're doing. Yeah, so I was using a lot of like, he's still drinking. You can't disturb him. He's getting all that water. He's staying hydrated. Now he's leaving. So yeah, a lot of these are brushes that I was using before Kyle Webster brushes, where I was trying to get like a natural look. But now Kyle Webster brushes became available on, and then I was using those, and those were actually in like, this is ridiculous to talk about because I mean, I'm going deep on Photoshop here, so just indulge me for just a moment. What you're looking at is like, Doggo did not get pet. He gets pet enough. We're trying to focus here. Brushes, man. Brushes. So like, this is what I would deal with. Okay. We had brushes going on with like the brush menu. And then in tool presets over here, we had Kyle Webster's brushes that were like separate. So there were two palettes of brushes. And what happened in the update was they folded Kyle Webster into Photoshop. Like, he is part of Photoshop now. And his brushes became available. Like, you could just click this cog. You could go to get more brushes, and it would list a bunch of brushes of his that you could just download, double click, they install, done deal. So in addition to the organization, Kyle Webster brushes are now all in one place with my regular brushes. So now I don't need that other, the other, you know, this thing. I'm keeping it around because there's some brushes that are like a little bit different, and there's some brushes that I'm really attached to in there, but luckily creating a new brush is super easy now. And yeah, I'm totally into it. So I mean, I assume they paid him. He advertised it. He struck the deal. I'm not worried about Kyle. Like, Kyle changed the face of like digital art in general. I mean, I don't know like what kind of deal they gave him, but I'm sure they gave him a deal. I'm sure they folded him in appropriately. He's able to protect himself. And he's a good dude. He deserves it. Like, I don't actually know if he's a good dude. I haven't met him, but his brushes are fantastic, and they've changed the way that I work, and definitely the way that a lot of other colorists work. So, all that said, now we have brushes all in one place, all organized, all ready to go. It's amazing. It's fantastic. So, okay, we've kind of tweaked the sky a little bit, and these stars are like real freaking, they're like caps lock on, but we'll tweak them in a minute. But I kind of want to mess with the building now. My attention's kind of going to be like all over the place because I feel like we're going to change one thing, and then we're going to change the next thing, and then we're going to change, you know, like, and it's going to affect all the color around it, and eventually we're going to hit a spot where we're happy. So I washed this in like a blue, and it just turned back into the what is going on over here. So I don't know if that's the strongest thing we should do. It certainly helped like pop the characters out, but what if we like wash it in like a red? Or an orange. I don't know. We're trying out a lot of things. Pink is too, yeah, that's too much. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what went down with everything, but he was advertising it. He announced that he had big news in the works, so I'm pretty sure that he is all set. So I kind of like that, but because we're doing so many layers of washes and effects on this building, we're eventually going to have to go back in and kind of like pop the windows again, pop the debris. Yeah, I don't know if Adobe's shady. I don't think that they. I mean, I don't know one way or the other, but I've never read anything. Like I've been kind of aware of what Adobe's been doing for years and years and years, and I've never heard anything like weird or shady. Um, let's select characters. What if we put them in a blue, actually? Now we're getting a little interesting. See, like this is turning into like two colors because we've washed like so many features on, like we've done so many washings on it that it's like basically now two colors, which is not where we want to be, but this is like a kind of a good place to start. I don't know if we should keep that wash on them. Maybe we can just color slide them. I don't know. I'm trying out a lot of stuff. This is the other thing, is like part of the reason why this was so successful on the right is because not only are we popping the characters from the background, but we're also pulling all the focus to the characters. And like they're the highest highs, lowest lows, like I always say. And in terms of value, and my impulse is to like go in a different direction for a remix, and that isn't what we want to ultimately be doing. So let's see if we can, you know what, let's tackle the building first. In fact, since we're changing the color scheme of the whole thing and we're changing the way it's lit, let's like make the top darker. Yeah, this is where we want to be, but I don't know if that's the colors that we want. Ooh, you feel that warmth? I feel that warmth. So this was kind of the splatter that we used on the bottom here. Obviously it's like a blue-green, which is not where we want to be. But maybe we can tweak, just like color slide it to something that is decent. We might end up just like totally redoing this, but we'll see. We'll see. All right. So I think what we want to do is kind of go in and brush in some details and highlights. Like I said, like we're going to be pulling focus from the buildings in general. So I hope that we are able to... This is a really weird block of... Does this like blend in when you do that? I don't know, kind of. That is odd. Let's take the eraser. Get rid of some of that. I think that I was like thinking that like it'll be debris flying through the space, but I don't know if that really worked. Let's back up before the eraser. Because this selection right here actually might be really important. Especially with this selection. Oh, that's not important. We should actually just dump this. We don't need it. Yeah, so all right. Let's orient. What are we doing? We're worrying about the special effects later. So yeah, so like I said, we don't want to do a ton of work in this, in the background, but we do want to add a little bit of variation in the color. So we're going to take like a blue. We're going to select the appropriate layer, maybe like a darker blue. And let's get like a chunky brush. Like this is fine. Let's drop the opacity to like 40% maybe. That's too high. 14 is too low. 26? Yeah, that's all right. So, yeah, we're going to get into this and just kind of like pop out features that are going to just be a little bit different in the debris. And there is like really no rhyme or reason to this. Like, I'm just trying to make it like visually different. And we're going to do this actually with like probably a blue and then like maybe another color as well, so that the debris just doesn't look like one thing. It looks like multiple materials and things like that. And it's already starting to look like that now, which is good. And I know that what we're doing today is actually going to be less useful for most of you, because most of you are probably working on something from scratch, or you know, painting you know, a comic book that you're working on, and you know, you won't be like tweaking someone else's work or messing around like that. But I mean, hopefully you will be eventually. I didn't usually do this, and then the Realm #1 sold out, and I was like, huh, that's gotta be a fluke. Like, that's never happened to me before, and I've been doing this for a long time. And then the Realm #2 sold out, and I was like, well, I guess we're doing this again. And I just wanted to say thank you very much for whoever out there who bought the Realm. Like, I appreciate it. It's a labor of love, and you can tell it's a labor of love because it's Image Comics, and we own the property, and we care about the characters we're building, and all that kind of thing. I like that people are picking it up. I like that people are responding to it. It's a great book, and it deserves whatever it gets. So yeah. And then, you know, I was saying on Twitter that I had a whole thing planned for Tom Fowler's When Do the Tentacles Kick In? You'll see. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody that's reading along. You'll see when they kick in. They do kick in. So yeah, we're gonna be doing Mr. Miracle stuff probably next Monday or Tuesday instead now. And I'm really looking forward to that, because there's a lot of stuff in there that like I want to talk about, and as also, in addition to color, like a lot of stuff I want to talk about comic books when you make something, like what your intention is when you make it, because I think that stuff is interesting to talk about and important to talk about. It's important to have intention with the work that you make, and goals and things like that. Like when I started this, my goal was to, you know, remix this art to be unrecognizable, like, or instantly recognizable that it's different, and still kind of like hit the same goals that we needed to hit. All right. One thing that I wish that I did in this that I did not do was like pop the goblins really well, um, and make them stand out. They're like kind of swarming around them, but they just got like lost in the building because it's tough to make them like show up in a building in that they're so far away from that we have to distance our characters from. So let's try to like just green them up a little bit, and hopefully people will see them. Whoa, that's real green. They'll definitely get seen. So yeah, we're gonna green up the goblins. And maybe because the yeah maybe a little too much. We don't want the goblins to be neon. Maybe because the building is now red, the green and the goblins will like pop a little more, and people will realize that these guys are back there, and they just want hugs. That's all they want. Just some hugs. All right. Let's put some detail into the street sign here. Change up the color a little bit because it's getting like drowned out. We're gonna keep it nice street sign or street post green. Let's take like a very bright yellow and kind of like put in some highlights down here. I'm using the Conte 2 brush because we're lighting it from the bottom now rather than the top, so these like ledges should pop like crazy. And maybe it's lit from like a fire or something, like a campfire, because I don't think there's any electricity anymore in the realm. The world's been thoroughly like bombed out and destroyed, not by bombs, but because magic became real. And then humanity used it, which there's your first problem. So yeah, let's kind of add in some highlights down here so that it's lit up pretty well. And we're gonna do some metal on the lamppost in a second, but I kind of want to highlight some stuff over here too. How's y'all's Thursday? Mine was weird. Not only did this happen, but Richard Spencer. Dang it, Bobby! Why'd you cast magic missile into the darkness? Yeah, just to see what would happen. Richard Spencer came to my town and talked, and college kids did not let him talk, and it was amazing. So yeah, everything was kind of nuts here. I wasn't close to any of the protesting or anything, but like you could tell like everyone was talking about it. It was just like it was nuts. Fuck that guy. Oh really? That's great. uh I I think I might be too old to protest. I mean, I will stick up for whoever needs it in my real life. That like if I see something, I will say something. But like when it comes to like potentially violent protests, I might be a little too soft and old for that. But I'm glad that people were there. And I knew Gainesville, I knew they were going to show up in force. It's a big college community, so you know, they did their thing. All right, so now it's looking like it's lit from the bottom. Before, oh, we're gonna do a little bit of detail work on the post over here. So before on the right, you see it's kind of like lit from behind her head, you know, like the sun is there or something. Now it's kind of like we've changed the light source without having to really with still being able to roll with, like, you know, all the line art down there. Yeah, when did college kids start looking like 12 to 15 year olds? Fucking tell me about it. Every time we're like at the grocery store or something and there's like a couple, like usually it's like a pack of college kids that are all going grocery shopping at the same time, I'm just like, oh my God, was I ever that young? Was I ever? It's kind of wild that they let 18-year-olds, you know, live on their own, but it's not, but it is. I don't know. I think about like how I was at 18 and I was like, I should not have been on my own. that was a mistake. When I was in college, I ended up getting very, very thin because I couldn't really, like, I didn't really know how to like cook meals for myself, and I was like eating kind of like garbo food but like, and then I was also like on a college kid budget, so I ended up like dropping to like, God, I was probably like 110, 90 pounds, like in that range. When I would come home for holidays and stuff, my parents were always like, are you eating? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm eating. Like, don't worry about it. But it was like such a gradual thing that like I didn't even realize it was happening. And then I started making pasta all the time and drank a bunch of beer, and then I put all the weight back on near the end of the college career. As it goes. All right. So the buildings look pretty much done. Yeah. I mean, I had the meal plan too, but like, I don't know. Maybe I was just distracted. I don't know. Right, exactly. It's like I knew the meal plan was there and I knew the cafeteria was there, but like maybe the hours were like not convenient, or like, I don't know, man. This is too long ago. I'm 36. I can't remember that far back. Like, how did I eat when I was 22 or 20 or 18? You know, like, I don't know. Too far back. All right. So we kind of got a thing going on here, and that thing is good. And we're going to do this thing. Let's figure that out. All right, deselect the characters. So the reason that I kept this selection, even though it wasn't going to be what we ultimately want to do, is because this selection in particular was like pretty close to the blacks, especially down below. Up here it's a little looser, obviously, that you can tell that. Like, I want to get to like kind of as close to the edge of the black line as possible. But I also want to, like, you know, my time is worth something, and I don't want to like trace this whole image. So we're just going to throw a grad through it and then like kind of like eyeball it, see if like stuff looks weird in places, and kind of move from there. We can chuck this selection. maybe take an orange screen through the whole thing, through all the building. This is actually gonna be kind of dramatic. Yeah, that's a little dramatic. But you know, I kind of like it. I mean, we're starting to, this is the thing that I always like run into with the realm, is that my brain goes, oh, color, we like that. But like, the realm also has this like rusted out, desaturated Fallout 4 kind of vibe. So like, even though like I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, let's go. We might want to tune it back just a little bit. So let's, whoa. That's not the slider I wanted. Yeah. Cut the saturation in half. We could actually just push the whole thing back. I mean, that's really white. Sepia filter. Hey, this is not a sepia filter. This is handcrafted with love. All right? For you. For you. Getting after me about a sepia filter. There's something on fire down there. I don't know what it is, but it's down there and it's on fire. I wonder if we can actually, maybe we can do like a hue saturation, but let's work on this guy. So I just added a adjustment layer of hue and saturation to the background, and just kind of like drop the saturation down the whole fucking thing, all the background. And we're on the mask layer, or the mask right now for that. Underneath it, it's still the same. So we can kind of like take 50% on this like kind of like washy kind of brush. If the scene was lit by off-screen trash can fires, it would be neat and a ton of work. Well, I think that's where we're going, actually. So we're going to take this like kind of washy brush and just kind of like 30%, you know, just kind of like a little dab here and there, and then like maybe dab the sky a little bit. And we can take like drop the opacity for the adjustment layer here too. Let's add in all right, there's the splatter brush. Okay, gotcha. I'm on the wrong thing. Gotcha. 100% this giant splatter effect, and let's just take out some chunks. So this is going to add just like a little bit of texture to the whole thing. Yeah, it's adding this like, I don't know if you can see it, it's adding this like splattery kind of stuff where it's just like where our original, you know, thing is like shining through, in addition to the other splatters that are there already. Everything's splattered. Everything is splattered. But I think that like the whole of the building needs to be pushed back in a way. I don't know if this hue saturation's like actually working. Oh man, I'm leaning into like our past yeah, add splatter. It'll confuse them into thinking it's good. Hey man, a little texture goes a long way. All right? That's all I got to say about that. Um I wonder, now we're just messing around. I kind of want the building to be like silhouetted at the top, like one thing, but maybe this was the wrong way to do it. Like maybe we just straight up select the building and just like throw a grad through the thing. It's funny because it works. Yeah. Dude, texture. I remember when I was in college. We're talking a lot about college right now. I was in a computer coloring class, and I thought I was like, big guy on campus because which is ridiculous in retrospect, because I had a little bit of work experience, and most of the people that I was there with did not, and so I was like and it was in computer coloring, so I was like, computer coloring, I don't need that, like I'll be fine. I could run this class. And it turns out it was a lesson in being humble, because in addition to me in that class was a guy that I had never seen before on campus, who was a digital painter. So I was doing comics, but I was doing like, when I started, it was nothing like this. It was one cut on the character, done, next page. And it was like one wash. It was like not nearly as sophisticated. It was, I was starting out. Like I only had a marginal amount of experience than the rest of my student body. So, by the way, I'm liking where this is going. I think this is getting good. Is it getting good? It's getting good. Are we done? Are we not done? So he starts showing his work, and I was like, holy fuck. The dreads look off up close. Yeah, we're gonna get to the characters in a minute here. I'm still trying to make sure, like, what I'm trying to do is nail down the background work, and I'll get to the story in a second. Nail down all the background stuff, because like the background stuff surrounds the characters, and any kind of color that we choose for the characters is going to ultimately be affected by like what's going on in the background. So and the characters are going to be the most important thing. So it's not that I'm working least important to most important. It's that like, I guess I am. Like they have to be the focus. So like we have to figure out everything else first so that we can make properly informed decisions on them. It's also a little bit of like, having our vegetables before our cake, which I don't know if you guys are eating cake at every meal, but I highly recommend it. So yeah, so like I wanted to pop the windows there a little bit. Yeah, this is starting to come together in a meaningful way. What's green up? I missed that guy actually. Let's green up his You're looking forward to picking up cake tomorrow? Yeah. It's your birthday, right? Happy birthday to Kate in the chat. yeah, so this guy in my comic book coloring class shows his work, and uh, it was amazing. And I was like, he had this one of a tiny boxy robot, like retro looking robot in like this open field that was like, there was like spores in the air and stuff. There was light shining down it. It was gorgeous. And I wish I could remember his name because I saw him in that class and then that was it. Like I never saw him again. So if he's out there, make yourself known. Hit me up on Twitter and be like, oh, that was me. Because I would love to see what your work is like now. And the thing that blew my mind was he had, like, the robot looked smooth. Like, he looked, and it wasn't like what I was doing. What I was doing, like, is just I put down like a smooth color, and then I'm kind of done. It was like the robot looked like a touchable metal, like a smooth touchable metal. And the chat is deep on cakes now, aren't they? Good Lord. And I was like, how did you make it look that smooth? Which is like, kind of like shows you how much I didn't know about, how much I'm going to ignore that in the chat. It just shows you like how much I didn't know about digital painting. And he was like, well, I got it that smooth because it's really just very rough, you know? And he like zoomed in. The chat is lewd about cakes now. The chat is doing whatever it is that it's doing, and we're just gonna ignore it. But yeah, it was so smooth, and he zoomed in, and he was like, "Oh, that's all the texture that's in there," and I was like, "What?" Because I was like, I don't even know where to begin with that. You know, like I don't know at the time. Like there was no texture brushes, at least that I knew of. Like. And I guess they were floating out there on the internet in like, 2002 or 2003 or whenever this was. But I didn't have them. And I was like, this is a thing, like. So, yeah, I mean, you made that joke about like a little bit of texture and we're done here. But like the texture actually goes a long way. Spray paint tool. Yeah, gotta get that MS Paint on. But yeah, texture goes a long way into making a world feel like real and tactile. And it's something that, sometimes artists deal with in the line art, but more often than not, they'll pass the line art to the colorist, and it's in the colorist's at the colorist discrimination to kind of make that stuff work. There's a handful of artists I think are like pretty decent at putting texture in, or at least denoting it. Like usually with line art, it's like, found a video of OG 90s Photoshop. Yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised like how many features like I wasn't working with it 15 years ago. There's a reason that like comics look better now than they did in the 90s, and that is because like the tool got better. Like yeah, I forgot where I was going with this story, but yeah, freaking blew my mind. Oh, artists that are good at texture. So there's a lot of artists that are pretty good at texture, but there's only so much you can do with texture in black and white. Like you really like, it's less, it feels like, and maybe this is just like my experience. Go on, Denier, you waking up, bud? Hey. He is passed out. Hold on. I gotta go pet that dog. Hey, buddy. You nodding off? You wanna come to bed? You can go to bed. Go on, bud. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. There you go. Old dog is very tired. We needed to coax him out of the room to go to the bedroom and go to sleep for the night. He had like crashed. At any rate. Oh, he's coming back. You coming back, bud? Go on. I don't know what he wants. Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. It's interesting that you brought up Corel Paint because at the time in the early 2000s, I was seeing what they were doing with Corel Paint, and I was like, Corel Paint is the future. Like, fuck this Photoshop shit. Like, Corel Paint is where it's at. Because, like, they were doing oils and you could feel the texture. Like, the brushes were so good compared to, like, what Photoshop was doing. And it seems, like, crazy to think about now. Like, I haven't thought about, like, oh, I wish I had Corel Paint in, like, 10 years. Like, I don't know. But, yeah, so I actually tried to color pages in Corel Paint, and like Corel Paint is a great program, or it was at the time that I was using it. I don't know anything about it now, but where it's a great program for like painting, but it is not a great program for like putting in line art and like moving on from there. And like coloring comics, it like just didn't do that job that Photoshop could do. But yeah, so there was like so few options for like texture and stuff. So for a long time I avoided it. And then like the only really way that you could get like decent texture in, as far as I knew, was to like layer stuff on, and it would like affect the whole document. So you were kind of like locked into, you know, affecting the whole document. And like masks were a thing, but I don't think they were as nearly as powerful. If they were, I didn't know. I didn't have enough expertise to really use them. I mean, we just tried to use a mask and I fucked it up and then abandoned it. So, I mean, maybe I don't have the expertise now either. that could be a thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm just trying to like figure out what the sweet spot is for masks. Like where they want to be. So, one of the problems with this is that the pants match the dark skin tone, so I tried to like blue up the pants just a little bit. Plus, the blue, like bluing them up a little bit, is gonna pop them from the orange background, which is gonna be dope. And I'm trying to render them a little bit more than I did before. Before I kind of just like threw a grad in, and you know, I think this was because at the time, I had been working on this thing for like 8 hours, and I think I just hit the wall and was like, all right, I think it's done. Like I couldn't be like, oh, now I got to paint the pants. No to paint the pants. Blew Up the Pants is a great metal band. Yeah. Blew Up the Pants. Oh man, like every album cover would be just pants exploding. Yeah, I kind of want that now. Things that I didn't know I needed, now I need them. so I also, this in here always kind of looked weird to me. Like God, please stop giving me nicknames. That's not what the chat is for. Please stop abusing chat. Kind of figuring out what I want for the skin tone highlight. I kind of want to bring up the skin tone a little bit. I think that's where we want to be. Because we washed these characters a few times, so now I'm trying to pull highlights out of them to make them a little more visible. And let's think about this for a second. If they're kind of lit, I mean, they're drawn in the way they're drawn separate from the lighting that we did to the building. But let's have the lighting from the building kind of interact with them. And I think that was critical when I did the first pass, because I was doing this kind of like halo effect. Oh man. This kind of halo effect around them here. And it helped like pop the figures from the background. And that's like the whole battle of this piece, is like, how do we get the figures to be separate from the building? So let's do that again, but let's do it in like a different way. We're using like a yellowish down here. We can use like a yellowish in the pants, and we're actually still opposite the color wheel, which is where the realm lives, in this like yellow purple. But maybe we got to desat the purple a little bit, because it's looking real purple next to the yellow. But yeah, let's assume that it's like, you know, lit from the bottom again. And I'm just kind of like gesturing this in, like we're gonna refine it a little bit later. And I might even go lighter. Maybe that'll fix the whole purple thing. Maybe we don't need to fix the purple, we just need to fix the yellow. All I know is something's got to get fixed. That's the top of her. Man, I'm like extreme concentration right now. Thinking about light sources. Always polish the crotch. Yeah, so not only did that experience in college teach me about like texture in digital art, yeah, it's gonna be real different. I think they're gonna pop from each other on stands. Not only are we like opposite on the color wheel, but we're like also opposite in the light source kind of thing. So yeah, not only did that whole experience like open my eyes to Corel and like what they were doing and like trying to think about texture in a meaningful way, but and like let's be real, I was like fumbling around in the darkness at the time. Like I was still in college and trying to like I was flatting, and then I was like doing like some small color jobs on the side. It was really not like, you know, thriving as a colorist. I hadn't found my legs yet, you know. I just didn't have enough experience. Um, but not only did it teach me like about that stuff, but it also taught me to be like a little more humble when it comes to this kind of things, because like the long and short of it is, and this is just like life shit, but like you don't know what you don't know. And there's always going to be somebody with like a little more life experience, a little bit more knowledge than you potentially. And part of being comfortable with that is being comfortable with yourself. And like also that kind of thing should also embolden you, because it's like, well, if there's always going to be somebody doing this, you know, if there's always going to be somebody more out there who's like a little bit better than me, then like I got nothing to lose. Like I'm the underdog. I'm the wild card. Like I can do whatever I want, and then like there's no expectations on me. And like even beyond that, you know, even if there is somebody that is better than you, like your experience is still valid with what you're working on and how you're working and the experiences that you're going through. And part of the way that I like kind of came to learn all that is because, and why I started the stream is because like I finally got old enough to see younger colorists start to come up, and you know, very talented colorists too, like people who were probably far more talented than me when I started, but like they still kind of like lacked some experiences that I've had, and it showed in not so much in the work, well, you know, a little bit in the work, but also just like day-to-day real life stuff. Like at this point in my career, it's been a long time, and I'm realizing that like, you know, anything I do is a marathon, not a sprint. And I wouldn't disparage anyone, because, you know, like there was a time when I was like sprinting nonstop, you know, like, and you know, you hit points in your career where you're like, I have to sprint right now to get this, like, you know, to get this book out the door, to get my foot in the door, you know, like to do whatever. But like, you know, I've started to realize that like sustainability is more important than the sprint, and that's just, you know, the shit that I'm dealing with right now. And I'm sure that like guys who have been coloring, you know, 5, 6, 8 years, 10 years longer than I have, are hearing me say that, and they're being like, oh yeah, I remember when I was like struggling with that. I remember when I was like realizing it's not a sprint, you know? So what I'm saying is that there's always going to be someone out there who is able to learn from your experiences, and it doesn't, and just because you realize that, you know, like it can feel like a hopeless thing to be like, oh, there's always going to be somebody better than me. But the reality is that like sometimes that dude is not, or a woman is not necessarily better than you, just different. And you will get there to that point. Like maybe they have a different experience than you or whatever, you know, and that you're valid too. You got stuff to learn and teach and grow, you know. I don't know. This turned into a very like touchy-feely kind of stream. I got on a tangent. Yeah, exactly, Magi. We're just hitting these characters with a hard round brush, like 50% yellow, and we're gonna like, it looks good on the orange because the orange is interacting with the yellow really well, but we're gonna kind of try to keep in mind that we're like, you know, bottom lighting them. Luckily, Jeremy has created extremely detailed art where I can really play with any kind of light source because there's so much going on, which is awesome. Jeremy's art is super fun. It is extremely challenging and it is extremely rewarding. And I think that maybe like how good of a time that I'm having with this is why people are responding to this book like they are. I think that the love comes out in the pages. So that's too much. When we were zoomed in, it didn't look like it was going to be too much, but now it does. We gotta tone this thing down. But yeah, man, I'm also realizing that like if we're getting all self-reflective, that like the fumbling through the darkness that I was doing when I started coloring is the same exact way that I feel when I draw now, because I have not been drawing on a regular basis. And so when I do end up drawing, like it's when I color, I feel like things click. Like I have a generally no, but like I'll take, so I don't have the question that was asked was, do you keep a navigation window up or to always have thumbnail perspective, or generally no. So I used to, but I have, and this is speaking to my experience level, generally I have like, and I was just going to say this, an idea of what I want going in, and normally like I just kind of like execute because I've done coloring for, you know, 7 hours a day every day for 14 years. So like it takes out, like I still have like happy accidents and I still have like stuff I want to try out, but like the broad strokes of what I do is kind of taken care of. You know, like mentally I can already kind of like piece that out. Like I know, when I look at like this image, especially because I've already done it once, I'm like, oh, this needs XYZ to work. Man, I don't know that she needs anything more. So this is the, I'm running into the issue where that reflected light source on the bottom looks better than it does at the top because it's starting from the bottom. And I ran into the same thing here when this looked really good, but like this started to look like I had it like all knocked out in the helmet and everything and down the cape, and it started looking weird, and it's looking weird up here. So let's make it not look weird. Let's pull it back. Yeah. This is looking better already. We're just gonna have to good old paint the hood. What? That's weird. Sounds like a lewd maneuver. Kids, don't paint the hood at home. That's for adults. Yeah, let's light it up a little bit. Let's make it pop. The orange that I'm like rolling through this thing is works because not only am I like brightening it up, would hitting that background with a sharper grad move the darker section? Yeah, so we're gonna get into that because the sky's like done, but it's not totally done. Like, if you remember when I started the this whole thing, I kind of put the stars in, and then I was like, we're gonna get back to those, and then I have not got back to those yet. Yeah, like because her head like occupies this space up here, we're gonna be doing a lot of tweaking with this whole thing. And we can kind of like, you know, even though this isn't like technically the right light source, like kind of fudge it a little bit. So this is starting to like pop her from the buildings really well, which is cool. But not really from the darkness up here. I mean, maybe we... I mean, I like that. I think that works. But maybe we keep it dark and we change up the sky like you were saying, Magi. But I don't know. This is part of what happened when I was working on this, is that like this is why this thing like took me like as long as it took me. It's because this piece in particular has a lot of moving parts to it. Like it's you know, like the way that the characters are kind of like layered into the space, they interact with different things. So it's not like you can just be like, oh, just we'll do this for the background, this for the foreground, and we're done, you know? Because, and then we're going to do extreme background this, and then we're finished, because like the top of her head interacts with the extreme background and with the background. And then like she interacts differently with, you know, like what's going on down here. And I do kind of want to keep the lighting thing in the bottom there, but we're going to redo it completely. I think we are hitting the goal of looking very different though. When we did the first issue, the Realm #1, one of the corrects that came back was like, they were like, it looks good, but did you change anything? And I did it the same way I did this. Like, I washed it with a color, so like every color would be changed, and then I kind of like went in and did my thing. And to me, it looked fine when you like put them side by side. But like putting them side by side is one thing, and like sitting there with the memory of what it is, and then looking at the new one, you want to be so far away from each other that like that's what you want. Like thinking about the first cover and what you think it is different than what the actual first cover is. It's a weird animal, especially. I was like thinking about this a lot Obviously not with the first cover because I don't know if I necessarily hit that goal, but as well as I could have. But with the Castlevania cover that we did for the Realm, maybe not that. The Castlevania cover, like when you think about the first Castlevania game cover in your mind, it's creepy and horror-like, and you know Dracula's laughing and the castle's there and Richter's with the whip, and like in your mind it's like a creepy thing, but when you actually look at it, it's like there's a crazy rainbow through the thing, like Dracula's lips are bright red, like he's wearing lipstick or something. It's very strange. So, and I had to kind of like split the difference when we did that cover, because like it has to be recognizable as Castlevania, but more importantly, it's like it's got to be recognizable as Castlevania, but the Castlevania that you kind of remember as well, you know? Like it needs to be exist in like both spaces, you know? Because by and large, most people don't know offhand like what Castlevania looks like, except for us weirdos, you and me, dude and lady, the three of us. You know who you are. All right, let's this thing is starting to get wrapped up. I think we're going to tweak the fire stuff a little bit. One thing that I really wanted to do, but Jeremy told me no, is like completely knock out the line art, like just put color there. But he was like, nah man, we got to keep my line art. So that's not like him being mean or anything. That's like a personal preference thing with comics. Some artists, like, they're like, the line art's there for a reason, just colorize it and be done. And some of them are like, go nuts. So yeah. Okay, this is starting to be where I want. We're gonna add some texture down here, because even though this is looking good, I kind of want to like obscure it a little more. Kind of want to give a little bit of tooth to it. Yeah, working with different artists is like is an interesting thing, because I have worked with artists who are like don't ever touch my line art. Don't you dare touch my line art. And then I've worked with artists that are like, I don't know, I'm done with it. Go crazy. We are doing this in a very ham-fisted kind of way, and we're gonna add a lot to it, and then we're gonna subtract. So nobody panic. I saw you panic for a second. That is not where we want to put that. All right. So yeah, if you're just joining us and you're like, hey, I thought we were working on Mr. Miracle, we are gonna get into that, but it is not for right now. All right, so we are gonna get into that on Monday or Tuesday next week. The next stream is probably going to be me fumbling my way through some Elder Scrolls Legends, the card game, because I am loving that right now. Oh, that layer was the old guide for the knockout. So this is what I was doing. This is what I was talking about. So like I was doing a full on like knockout, and Jeremy like just completely straight color. Obviously it looks terrible with this, but because we're picking different light sources and everything. But Jeremy did it. He was like, you gotta add the actual line art. The line art matters. So this is kind of like the compromise that we came up with, and we're gonna be doing going forward. But we can trash this layer. This is the layer, right? No, that's the smoke. Not Monday or Tuesday this week? No, sadly, I cannot get back into it Monday or Tuesday this week. There's certain space-time things that are keeping me from getting into that. Once we manage to wrangle space-time, then I'll be able to, have my way with space-time. And you'll basically get 15 years worth of streams in one day. But until that happens, you're going to get, my entire streaming career in one whole day. I'm going to be promoting books that I don't even know about yet. Once we are able to manipulate space-time. So I'm going to talk about kind of like where this landed in a minute. And I think there's a couple things that surprised me. That like ended up working out really well, and better than I thought they were going to work out. Feather that selection. I'm kind of doing like some effects stuff now. Whoo, baby. That's looking hot, right? Maybe too hot. Too hot to hold. We're going to light up that platform. We're going to see that platform from space. It's literally, yeah, they're standing in the fire. So, okay. With these grads that I just pulled through the thing, I really like them. They're super dramatic. It anchors the bottom of the thing, and the titles for the realm are really bold, and they anchor the top really well. So I think that, anchoring the bottom is a really smart thing. Oh man, I didn't realize how much they cropped off on the bottom here. Ain't that some shit? You guys got an exclusive look at the bottom 1/4 of an inch that was removed. That's for you. That's for the viewer at home. We are going to so I threw the grad through here, and all that effort. Well, because I'm about to get into some effort actually. So it was actually, for all your snide comments, it was actual effort. There's, when I pull the grad through the thing, through the bottom here, these little glow effects, when they're on the characters, when they're overlapping the characters, that's fine. But when they overlap the extreme foreground here, that starts to make the extreme foreground look a little flat, So I did this in the other one, and apparently it did not matter that much because they cropped a ton of it. But we're just gonna take a rough eraser, and even though we know that now that this will be cropped, we can we can just do our thing. Oh, whoops. This is a weird shape for this eraser. So we're bringing these shapes back forward for no reason at all, only to have them cropped. Eh? Filtering down challenges and call it cropped. I don't know if you guys watched. There was an artist reality show. Oh God, my financial security in the chat. So now that we've kind of like narrowed in on what's going on with this, I'm going to do some last minute lighting stuff on the bottom because the lighting got fucking wild on the bottom of this thing, which I think is awesome, but is going to need to be complemented in the rest of the piece. Overly dramatic showboats in art. I don't know what you're talking about. So there was a reality show. Penny Arcade ran a reality show a while back. This is not the layer that I want to be on. Called Strip Search, where they were looking for a cartoonist for a internship position, I think, with them. And they had like a bunch of cartoonists in a house and they performed challenges. Like Wizards of the Coast came and they were like, we want to make skate decks for extreme sports that we're sponsoring with Magic the Gathering, which I don't know, but sure. I guess. And so they made like all of the Strip Search people, like they were like, I don't know what Chandra is, but we're gonna make a Chandra skate deck, and it was a really silly thing, and then they made the skate decks. It was wild. Eventually, Magic did for the extreme sports thing, but all the Strip Search episodes are online if you guys want to check them out. It's worth a watch. There's some very talented cartoonists in there that have like gone on to do other things. I believe Erica Moen is in there from a lewd comic about sexuality called Oh Joy Sex Toy, that I hear is very good. There's yeah. What you want to do is Google Strip Search Penny Arcade, not Strip Search. So yeah, her name pops to the forefront of my mind. There was a girl named Katie who drew a lot like John Kay of Ren and Stimpy fame. And I was following her work for a while. I wish I could remember her name right now. I'm drawing a blank on it, but her work's incredible. And you'll know her when you see her on the show. If you're familiar with Ren and Stimpy's stuff at all, you'll know it instantly. I think she actually like did some work with John Kay, if memory serves. There was a while when I was like kind of into Ren and Stimpy in a minute. You heard of this one? Of Strip Search or of this person? Do you remember her because your name is Kate and her name was Kate? Or I assume still is Kate. I don't know why I said was. Oh, the comic. Yeah. Ojoy sex toy. I think it's because that title is so good. It just sticks in your mind really well. Um, she wrote a couple of volumes of it. I don't know how long the volumes are, but it's out there, man. And I hear it's good. I think Oni partnered with her, about like I think she like small press kickstarted one, and then Oni picked it up after that, and then they came out with a second volume or something. I can't remember exactly. Um, all right, let's mess with the stars, and then I think we're getting close to calling it. That was weird. It's like turning the lights off. So we're going to do 50% brush. And this brush is like kind of like, I don't know, dimply, if that makes any sense. So it like doesn't necessarily erase everything. And we're just doing 50% to kind of like push some of the stars into the back to make like some of them shine more than others. Maybe there's dust up there that's blowing around rather than the stars. Yeah, that looks a lot better. The stars before, they were like all caps, and now they're like stars. I don't know why I didn't just do that from the beginning. I don't know why I teased that, but yeah. One of the things that I like is the purple pants with the yellow backgrounds. Like I said before, the realm lives like opposite on the color wheel, and I think that looks good. Though now that I'm looking at it, maybe they should desat a little bit. Maybe. We've entered the is it done phase. Is it done? Is it safe? Is it safe? That's a Clerks the animated series reference that I'm sure nobody really cares about. We're going to drop the saturation just a little bit, because they're coming across as like, I put on my purple pants today, instead of like, I'm affected by the lighting around me. And I mean, she could have purple pants, but she does not in this book. At least not yet. She needs a reason to have the purple pants. I actually, now that I'm like zoomed in and looking at this, I'm like, maybe I should have taken more care here. So maybe we will actually take a little bit more care. Yeah, that's looking a little better. Still kind of purple. See? Still purple, but now it's not like purple. Step 47. We launched the Leonardo theme park into space and nuke the planet from orbit. Yeah. Yeah, I was actually just thinking that, because like, here's the thing. We did such a good job over here. Like this looks really good, and this looks very close. And I can't change her hood color, but maybe we can like change the saturation, or maybe just change the sky. What if we just change the sky, like you were saying? I was looking at that same thing. I mean, even if we change the sky, it still looks, I feel like we gotta like just up the saturation, like just make the hood look awesome, you know? Just make her look awesome. That's all. What button is that in Photoshop? We forgot to press it. Also, I just realized that her like quiver is kind of falling into the buildings right here. So maybe we're not done. Are we done? No. Get back to work. There is no color dodge layer. There is no color dodge. We paint here. It's screen, multiply, and very seldomly overlay. Yeah, I mean, we could darken up the sky by 25%, and that would be easier, but I do kind of want to just like I kind of want to see what it's going to look like if we just like, you know, for me, if we just like saturate the shit out of the hood. I think it might be awesome. These are not one thing. Past Nickfil, what are you doing? The dreadlocks should just be dreadlocks. Oh my god. Strap in for some tedium. Population us. Super ringlets? I don't know. I always mentally like had them as like dreadlocks. I don't know what super ringlets are. What are super ringlets? I think I'm going to go through and hit the dreadlocks again too. Just to really make them dark. Or the ringlets, I guess. Let's just see. Let's just see. Yeah. Now we're talking. So now the hood pops really well. We could also darken up the background just a little bit. Oh, you doing a thing, Photoshop? Do the thing. Whoo! We got there. What is this? What is this? I can't see that image. Oh, I gotta cut and paste the whole thing. Are these ringlets? Oh. I don't think they're ringlets. Ringlets, I think are not what's going on with her hair. They would be like very tight ringlets if they were ringlets, which I suppose they could be, but in my mind they're dreadlocks. Let's tweak the sky just a little bit because we darkened it up. So let's reflect that a little bit. There we go. There we go. Hey, we did all this stuff up here. Yeah, we did all that. Only to be covered by a logo. These guys out here, they ain't grinding like us. They don't respect it. They do respect it. They care a lot about me actually on this project. All right. I think we're gonna hit the dreadlocks and then we're gonna be done. Yeah, logo blocked, dude. I forgot who I was talking to. Just recently, a colorist I was talking to was saying that she did some cover work and she signed it. Now I am a big advocate in signing everything. Oh, also what we're going to do is double check on these gerblins to make sure that they are nice and green. So I'm a big advocate of like sign everything, you know, because you don't know what's going to take off. You don't know like what's going to be you know, like popular online or like just in general. When I made this, nobody knew about the Realm yet, and now we're recoloring it because it's going into second printing. So did I just? Yeah, we're good. Yeah. So I'm like, fucking sign everything because you know, if something hits, you want your signature on that thing, of course, so that people can be like, oh, like, who did this? Oh, it says Filardi in the corner. Let me Google Filardi. Oh, Nick Filardi is the most popular Filardi there is. Let me follow him on Instagram and Twitter, which is right up there, right there. You know, you want to be able to, like, when you hit big. Hit big, hit hard. But Jeremy doesn't sign it, so he never signs anything, which I think is kind of funny. I think he's influenced by the people in the 90s who would like do something like this and then be like giant scroll in the corner and like Jeremy Hahn, you know, like freaking 90s comics did back then. We're just going to gesture this in a little bit. So I think that he has a direct reaction to that. So because of that, I am not signing this. But on another cover, a friend of mine signed it, and then where they put their signature, the company that was like doing the logo and stuff put its own separate logo that could have gone anywhere on the image and just pop right over the signature. Just like in Monsters Inc. when Mike Wazowski gets the sticker over his head, like just right over his head. I'm laughing because I'm crying on the inside, because sometimes that's the way shit goes, and it should not be that way. All right, let's check up on our goblins. Dominic Andrew Filardi is the most popular Filardi. That son of a bitch. That medical MD Filardi having. We gotta get more famous. Chat. We gotta get more famous, and the only way that's gonna happen is if you write to your congressman and ask them to tune into the stream and tweet about it. You should have them on speed dial by now, because we are living in the end times. Is he really the most popular Filardi? I've never actually Googled. I just assumed I was. I don't know what that says about me. I just figured it was like an uncommon name, you know? Do not know whether to laugh or cry. Yeah, you just Googled Filardi and got him. Okay, how about this? I can at least lay claim to the most popular Nick Filardi. I'm pretty confident in that. Most Googleable Nick Filardi. So we popped the. This guy's actually looking a little glowy, but we can duck him back a little. And these guys are like super gestured in, but oh, and we were gonna fix her sheath here. I'm the 4th Fulardi. Wow. Wow. We got to get famous so people know. It's almost like, you know, people should be reading more comic books. Jean-Pierre Fulardi. Law offices. Oh, man. Nick Filardi, Jason Filardi. So, Jason Filardi, I believe this is Jason Filardi, actually wrote The Craft, the movie, which I don't know if you guys have seen that. And every once in a while, like every 4 years, your hopeless chops. I'm sorry. You can't ever break through because your name is super common. Yeah, I figured my name would be uncommon enough that like I would break through as the most famous Filardi, but apparently not. Yeah, so the Filardi that's under me, that is what, 5th most popular, I guess, or 6th most popular, or whatever it was. He wrote The Craft, which is awesome. But every once in a while, I get like somebody asking me because, you know, we work in a medium that's entertainment, and like I work in a medium that's entertainment. He does too. And so people will be like, dude, is this like your uncle or something? And I'm like, no, I wish. The Craft was awesome. First and last name is shared with an author. Yeah. There's a questionable mugshot in my image search. Wow. I will not point my mother to the image search results then for that questionable mugshot. I also want to be perfectly clear that this is not me being like, I need to be the most famous, because I really don't care about that stuff. I just assumed that it was like a rare name. That's where my befuddlement comes from. So yeah, we're just tightening up the rendering a little bit in here because it was a little all over the place. And it's a cover, so you know, like this is something that like if this was a panel in a thing, I might not actually really tighten it up, but since this is a cover and is going to be the first thing people see, maybe it is worth going through and getting it done, getting it polished, popping it off. So I hope the team likes this. Talking Takio with Philadelphia-based colorist Nick Filardi. That's me, man. I colored Takio with Mike Oming, and it's actually about Brian Michael Bendis's kid and Mike Oming's wife getting superpowers and going on adventures. It was super fun. Yeah, before I got Florida retired, yeah. How am I Florida retired and I'm still working? I'll tell you how. Because I care about you beautiful people out there. And I want to get you good comics. Alright, we've tightened up the rendering. We've popped her quiver on her back. The arrow is fairly not falling into the background, which was another worry of mine. I think this looks good. The question is, will the team think this look good? Will the team I don't even know. I don't even know. I'm befuddled. It's like 10 o'clock. I'm fading, man. Will the team like it? There we go. I pulled like an Elmer Fudd right then. We'll see. So there's a couple things that I think I was very excited about with this. Like the purple in the characters working with the yellow in the fire in the background and stuff like that, I think is like really on point for what the realm is. The realm's goal as far as colors go is to be opposite, to be fighting, to be, you know, have this kind of conflict. If you look at a lot of the pages, if you have the realm at home, a lot of the skin tones will be like, you know, cool highlight, warm shadow, and that is very much on purpose, or vice versa. And you know, that's how light works a lot of the time anyway, but sometimes it reads weird in comics. But with the realm, it reads weird and it works because you want it to be weird. You want it to be like a little unsettling, a little odd, you know? So on the left side, you have this kind of like purple and blue, or purple and yellow kind of thing. And on the right side, you have like this green, blue, and like red, like in the skin tones and in the hood and everything in here and in the helmet. So yeah, I think that this is a wrap, and it came out maybe better than I thought it was going to. I was actually a little bit worried about streaming this because the one on the right like took so long, but we got there. We got there. All right, let's save it. Let's send it out. And if you guys like card games, we're going to play some Elder Scrolls Legends probably Saturday or Sunday, sometime over the weekend. I'm working on the Dark Brotherhood story chapter so we can unlock some cards so we can finally start like trying to deck build. But if nobody's really into that, we might jump into the arena with actual players rather than bots. I've been grinding arena lately and I've been really liking it. So we might do that. I still kind of want to get back to Last of Us, but I don't know. That game might punish me out of it. I might not be good enough at video games anymore. At any rate, we're going to get back to Mr. Miracle Kirby stuff next Monday or Tuesday, and I will see you there for that. And we're going to be talking about choices that you make as a colorist and choices that you make as an artist in general in more detail on that stream. So you're going to want to tune in for that. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you then.